Hello and welcome everyone for another episode of the Cultured Nerd Podcast. This week we've got a few things to talk about. We're going to start off by just going right into it. Yes, some stuff happened. Everyone now knows Henry Cavill's in this movie, but apparently there's a lot of people on the internet who don't like it, and for the silliest reasons too. So we're going to talk about the obvious Henry Cavill being in there, what it means for the franchise going forward, everything in between. But then we're going to kind of go into toxic fans and toxic fandoms as a whole, because it seems like nobody's happy anymore. And it needs to be something that we all need to get over. So, let's just let's get right into it, and let's talk our stuff. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Tebe.
Not going to drop. Okay, we're going to just keep having fun with your names. So everyone, the last few weeks, we were having intermittent connection issues. Some of it was on my side, and then we kept thinking it was my side. Turns out it was a lot of technical issues on Michael's side involving his microphone connection, his just connections, hardware connections in general. And it kept kicking him out, and I kept thinking I was freezing, and it was really just him. So now we fixed it.
Yeah, now if whatever problems we run into today, who knows what the problem is? We get to be gumshoes and figure out what that problem is.
Yeah, we will cross whatever bridge we get as we get there. But so I'm going to just go right off the bat. Everyone who's watching this should already know the news, but spoiler alert anyways. This last week on I think it was Wednesday, actually, the day after our show last week, where we basically were like, oh yeah, Henry was spotted in LA. It's happening. Warner Brothers did a secret test screening for the film. Kind of those usual ones where if you're in the LA area, there's a certain website you can go to. You can sign up to be randomly selected for test screenings. A lot of people kind of had the idea what was happening, but they all signed up. They went blindly into this thing, and to no one's surprise, it was Black Adam. And mind you, it was a completed version of Black Adam. And this film included a special post-credit scene that took the internet by storm. Within about 5 minutes of the movie ending, and someone said, holy crap, they did it, everyone realized what had happened. It spread like a wildfire. And now Dwayne Johnson is kind of just in the whatever. And now he's just kind of talking about it. He's not directly saying it, but he's essentially saying that Black Adam is the strongest entity on Earth, but there is an entity that's not from Earth that is stronger than him. And that's what the battle is going to be about going next time, is that the sequel is essentially Black Adam versus Superman. And that was kind of what we all had hoped. However, there has been kind of a weird outcry about it. Obviously, the scene was added very late in the game, right? So the licensing probably wasn't done yet. The certain details weren't done, but they filmed it. They got it in. It's happened. But some fans are pissed because Henry's in the blue and red suit, because it's not coherent. It doesn't fit with Zack Snyder's Justice League, a movie that Zack himself even said was not canon to the theaters and not canon. It was an Elseworld story. He even said this was separate 100%, and fans are still mad about that. Second thing was that the music wasn't Hans Zimmer's Superman theme. It was the theme from Christopher Reeve, the iconic Superman theme, the theme that the studio uses for Superman. Doesn't matter which Superman it is. It's literally every Superman they use it for. It's Superman's theme.
It's John Williams. It's the Superman song. When you hear it, you think Superman.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's Christopher Reeve's film. It is, but at the same time, the studio adapted it to every Superman. You've seen it literally in commercials. You've seen it in you see Superman, you see this song, right? Fans are upset about it, and a lot of people kind of rationalize like, hey, maybe it's because Superman is now at the end of his journey. He's no longer just Superman in training. He's now Superman. And that's why his theme changed from his origin theme to the final theme. I just got a message real fast. We have a few people joining us today. And
I think that is all everything. I think that is all nonsense. I think this is Warner Brothers rebranding with the John Williams song. They're going to bring that back because it's the song by John Williams, the guy who's all the other shows are using scores by him as well. I think that's what it is. And I think that whatever this Superman is will be the new jumping off point for whatever they decide to do with Superman.
Right. And that's something that I also wanted to get into, because there's a lot of stuff happening with this this new stuff that has kind of come about. Obviously, I'm not a scooper, so I didn't want to break any news for everybody, but a few scoopers online this last couple of days have already said this stuff. So now that it's out, it's fair game for me. So last week, one of my contacts sent me a couple of little tidbits. One, the Flash sequences with Henry being added into the film are going to also include Henry meeting Supergirl and moving forward with Supergirl as his like protege. So they're moving forward with Supergirl as a comic Supergirl. Like, so Superman is now going to take her under his wing and show her the ropes. So they're now traveling together.
Great.
And the other detail that I got just a couple of days ago, and I'll let me see if I can show it without ruining some details of my person. Last week they had told me Blue Beetle. Let me see if I can get it. So Saturday, it says right there, Blue Beetle is going to be referencing both Superman and Supergirl in that film. So watch out for those Easter eggs. And that was something that viewer Anon dropped maybe like 3 hours ago. So now that it's out there, I can talk about it. So I'm really happy about that. But the idea was that a lot of people were like, oh no, Supergirl is going to be replacing Superman. But now in the film that they're currently filming right now, they've even changed that script and retconned it in a way to allow, basically saying Superman and Supergirl are flying together as a team, which is yay. I'm digging it. But there's a lot of people who are upset.
Why?
Because
like is it because it's not what they wrote in their brains of what their fan fiction they wanted?
Possibly.
Or okay.
Because for a lot of people, the release the Snyder Cut, restore the Snyderverse, all those movements were about getting the studio to quit their shit and bring these things back. Right? We wanted Ben back. We wanted Henry back. We wanted Ray Fisher back. We wanted all of those pieces back. And a lot of people believe that without Zach, they weren't coming back. But people need to remember that Warner Brothers Discovery is not Warner Brothers.
Right. Everything you just told me is the company that went bankrupt, that had to be purchased by another entity. Yeah, they're all gone.
They're all gone. Most of them are gone. The only one that's left is Hamada, and he's got like 20 days left on his contract, and he's out the door anyways. But the problem is that a lot of people are just upset because obviously John Williams' theme was used in this post-credit scene. The scene that's literally 30 seconds long. They're mad that that's there. It doesn't mean in the future they're not going to get the licensing, get all the minutia of details out to bring back the music that they want. But this was an 11th hour addition to the film, so they probably only had the licensing ready for the song that's dedicated to Superman, and that's probably a factor. But I kind of want to bring in our panel. We got 3 people already waiting for us. I got our buddy Sean. He's from Ireland. He is staying up super late for us. It's 1 a.m. his time.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Let me know if it sounds everything.
Oh, it sounds great.
Haven't done this in a while. I've been in the States and I've been traveling and I'm only back. So it took me a few streams to get back into it, but much appreciated. Thanks for having me on the stream.
Yeah, no worries. And then I got Dawson here from 4 Nerds.
How's it going, guys?
He's been here the last couple times. He's got some stuff to say. And then I've also got Prime the Godfather with us. Prime 76. He is we actually had this long Twitter, what do they call them? Like the Twitter
thread
spaces?
Oh, space. Oh.
Yeah. This big one yesterday about this exact topic. And like he gave me the mic. I ranted for a bit and I told everyone that boycotting a movie is the stupidest thing you can do because it doesn't do what you think it's going to do. And I wanted to bring everybody in. And yes, some of the comments that's popped up right now. Congratulations, Dawson. We're going to bring this up real fast. You became one of the top 10 finalists for the Rebel Moon contest. You were flying to the set of Rebel Moon to hang out with Zach and crew. Not sure if you're going to be the final finalist. If the main winner, apparently their design gets adapted into the film, which is pretty rad, but I hope you do because your samurai dude's pretty rad.
Oh, thank you.
It kind of fits. It honestly fits Zach's whole like 7 Samurai / Star Wars / hodgepodge of a thing, so it makes total sense.
That's exactly what I was going for. So full disclosure, I wasn't going to enter in this contest at first, because even though I've been an artist for a long time, I've had a lot of not like bad luck, but just bad experiences with art contests. Just a lot of different things that had happened that just had a bad taste in my mouth about those contests. And so I wasn't going to enter it, but then a couple people convinced me. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll just put something in there. But like you said, definitely a lot of samurai stuff involved in the piece. Because I knew that this movie, along with Star Wars, was inspired by Seven Samurai. I got to incorporate that in there somehow. And I saw a couple of the pieces that people had done, and a lot of them had leaned more into the sci-fi aspect of it, which is really cool in of itself. But I figured, you know what? Let's try to make this stand out a little bit by approaching more of that side of the inspiration, which was really, really fun to do. I loved doing whatever the hat's called. I can't remember what the hat is called. He just talked about it on Andre's stream. But the hat was really fun. The samurai robes and even coming up with like a backstory for him in my head was really, really fun to do. But honestly, also fun story. I woke up this morning thinking I was going to have like a phone break today. I was going to not look at my phone very much. I wasn't going to like check social media very much. And I was working on an art piece in this office earlier today. And then all of a sudden, Andre from the Nick Tina show just calls me screaming his bloody head off, saying, dude, you made it. Check your phone. And I find all these like group chats where like 30 different people are like, Dawson, get on your phone. Gosh, dang it. Check your notifications. And I was like, oh, what the heck happened? And I found it. And it was really cool to see all the different, people showing support and love about it today. It was really cool, really humbling. And it's just really exciting because I lived in LA for a couple of years. So I get to go back and see some people that I haven't seen in a while. Also get to see the set of the movie and potentially meet Zack Snyder and crew, which is really awesome. Super stoked about that. Because again, Zack Snyder, you guys know, my favorite director.
Cool guy.
Love the guy. So very, very cool thing to figure out today. Had to call my mom right away, as one should. And she nearly cried, which is really fun. But yeah, just a very, very cool day overall. And I really appreciate the love that I've been getting about it today. It's been really cool.
Yeah, I felt especially proud, and it has nothing to do with me, but I thought it was nice anyways, that both Dawson and Aaron, the two people that I said everyone you need to vote for, made the top 10. So I'm like, yes, I'm batting 1,000, guys. Here we go.
Yeah, that's also another one too. I'm excited to meet Aaron. I've talked to him a couple times via social media, but being able to meet him and kind of pick his brain and how he does his work is going to be a really cool experience.
Yeah, no. But no, let's kind of like, that was obviously a huge deal today. I definitely love that. I kept looking while you brought it up. I don't know the actual name. It's just they're just Asian straw hats. I don't know, the rice hats or coolie hats, I think is what they're called. That's essentially
something like that.
Yeah,
I think it started with a C or a K or something like that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But they're pretty awesome. I loved it. I love your little design. I would pull it. I don't have the image on me, so I can't just.
Well, I can pull it up if you would like.
I
pull up the picture. Pull it up.
Yeah,
I will find it. Give me 2 seconds.
Well, you just gotta search Zack Snyder's page, or just search my page.
Let's see. There we go. Congratulations, Dawson. There's the Twitter one. All right, found you.
And the real takeaway from this is, kids, plug into the Matrix. No breaks, okay? Full gas on the internet all the time. The moment you plug out, the beast is going to leave you behind. You got to plug into the Matrix.
Or you could say, like, every now and then take a step back, and then all of a sudden everything's going to happen. You could take the opposite approach. But yeah, no, that was really, really cool. Because again, I've never really liked art contests. And so the fact that it actually worked out the way that it has is just really, really cool, and not like surprising, because like I know that I work hard at my craft and I know I have some quality to my work. So in that aspect, I'm not like surprised, but it's just when things work out for you as an artist, you're just surprised, no matter what talent level you are. So that is a pixelated version of mine, but yes, you get the basic idea. But
it's not pixelated on my screen. I don't know.
Oh no, it ain't pixelated.
That's all right. We get the basic idea.
But if you had the high quality version you could send to me, I wouldn't have to screenshot the.
Okay, fine.
You know what?
Does that guy use his metal hat to kill people too?
I hope so.
Right, that looks like a throwing hat. That's a hat that you use for practical purposes.
Well, I mean, it definitely could. I'm definitely not against that idea for sure.
I'm just spitballing here, okay? Nothing I'm saying is canon, okay? We can just talk about ideas with this.
I would also like to point out that if Zach picks this, he gets to decide everything about this character, not anyone else. So if he's like, that hat's a weapon, that hat's a weapon now. If you didn't want it to be, it is.
I mean, I'd imagine Zach would do that. I'd imagine Zach would have like sort of like a chainsaw type of effect on the sides, which would be pretty sick, not gonna lie. I'm gonna message this over to you, Taylor, on Twitter.
I would also be fine if that hat was some sort of wok situation where he like did cooking and stuff with his one metal hand and he can roast meats.
Hey, I mean,
okay with that.
The way that I have it in my mind is that he's a survivor, like he's a part of an older like samurai order that is kind of outdated, not like overthrown like the Jedi, but just outdated due to technology. And so he's just kind of wandering around on Zerafax, which is the planet that I named, which is a name that I'd had in my head for a long time. Just kind of doing good where he can, but he's not like a hero. He just kind of wanders around, and if he finds trouble, he can't really help himself but get involved, but he's kind of bitter because just how the way his life's gone. But I love designing it. I love the fact that there's the sci-fi aspect to it, which forces me to explore alien sort of designs. Like you'll see when you get the full image, or I guess the full res image up, where he has the sort of droopiness from like his upper lip, kind of droops down the side, kind of looks like sort of a longer mustache, but it's a part of his face. But also the like horse ankles, which were really fun to do, but also a little challenging because it's sort of like double jointed and you kind of have to think about where the legs go in a different way than you would drawing a human. And some people haven't noticed this yet, but there's a detail that I put in there that kind of has some more depth to it. If you look at his robotic arm or where it connects to his human body, or I guess his alien body, you can see like bright purple vein work. And that's to be like the sort of fluid that more connects the arm to the body on a more neurological level. And more
also see the purple veins going up his neck and his arm kind of around that too.
Right, exactly. So like connects more up to his brain and to his nervous system. So it's not necessarily like the Star Wars ones where it just connects to the nerves. It connects to him in multiple ways. So it's more a part of him. And I like to imagine that he actually feels pain in that arm when it's hit too, because the connection that it has, which was a really fun concept to play with.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Take all the pictures in the world. Have all the fun. It's gonna be
and
awesome.
I'll share them when I'm allowed to.
Right. No, I know how that goes. Zach, when he was on our stream, when I was with on that interview with Lightcast, he kept showing us things. I kept sharing things, saying, "Oh, test this out, check this out, check," and like showing us stuff on his phone.
Yeah.
And then we'd have like text messages sent to our producer from Debbie saying like, "You can't share that. Delete it. Take it off. He's just getting carried away." So
he gets too excited.
Yeah. And she said that what gets him in trouble is that he like the Green Lantern photo that he put out at that one event, the Q&A event. He's like, "Oh yeah, here it is," and she's like, "We got in so much trouble for that," and he just did it.
Well, it's like that's why I think. For that reason, it says in the description of what we got in the email saying, "Oh, you have a chance to meet like cast and crew." Like, there's no way we're not going to meet Zack Snyder. He's not the kind of guy that just would be like ignore the artists that come in. Like, he'll come up to us and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?"
He's gonna have lunch with you all. Be ready for that.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
You got to be able to. Now you have to think about how you
Zach the man.
You're gonna be like, "I eat weird, and I don't want him to think I eat weird, so I need to watch how I eat."
So that means I have to avoid eating ice cream at that lunch because I can't bite ice cream. So
You have to like awkwardly lick it.
Well, or like just kind of bite down my lips. My wife makes fun of me for how I do it. Yeah, so I gotta avoid that. But I proposed this idea on the next Tina show just a little bit ago of because I do sticky note sketches of maybe doing like a sticky note sketch of Zack Snyder and giving it to him in person, which would be really cool. I think that could be really fun if I was able to pull it off and make it look Zack enough.
You gotta frame it. You have to have the sticky note frame so it's like a thing that he has to hold on to.
True.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out the size of a frame for a sticky note. How does one even find a frame that small?
It's like an inch by an inch.
Type into Google sticky note frame and see what pops up.
Make Zach drink Dr. Pepper.
Does he not drink Dr. Pepper? Is there something that I'm missing? Like, is there some?
I'm a big Dr. Pepper connoisseur.
I know that. I know you do the little sweetness thing all the time, but was it something that he just doesn't do? Or are you just gonna like awkwardly hand him a Dr. Pepper and say, "I want you to drink this. Here's a Post-it review."
Oh my gosh. He's like, "I want you to drink this, Zach." Why? Just do it.
Well, this feels like the exact opposite of what we are talking about.
Yeah,
Here we have somebody who had a contest, and I totally feel you, Dawson. It's like auditioning for things, right? You're like, I did my best, and when they don't choose you, you're like, oh, I guess my best is awful. So I totally feel that judgment part. But here we have somebody interacting with his audience in a positive way and rewarding your work and other work like that he is inspiring.
Yeah.
Why does the pendulum swing the other way, Taylor, where we have people with pitchforks that are ruining projects even before they get off the ground?
Right. So, like I said, there's a lot of fans. I talked to a few people even today. I was like, why are you wanting to boycott this? He's like, I just don't trust WB. And I'm like, this isn't WB. This is Discovery.
I do get that though. Like there is still the WB like words in the Warner Brothers in there. So like there's that natural tendency to be hesitant. I've definitely felt that myself. But you're absolutely right when you're saying it's a different company, different leadership. Yes, Hamada's still there for like the next couple of weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna be gone out the window. Toby Emmerich's gone, right? And Sarnoff's gone, right? The people who were causing problems before are gone, essentially.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry too much about the foolishness that was going on with the previous regime. But I definitely still understand that hesitance. It definitely makes sense to me. But like you said, not a whole lot of reason to be scared of it.
Right. And it seems it's almost silly at this point that people are just like, I don't trust WB. I'm like, look at the news. I mean, even today, like there's a bunch of like anti-WB stuff going on the Twitter sphere because Discovery just announced another wave of layoffs where they're firing more of the old regime.
Yes.
It's like they're cleaning house.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing what needed to be done in the first place. Like they let some people stay for way too long, and they just the way they managed the whole situation. I mean, we all know this. We've documented this so many times in these streams. It's just been poorly managed for so long, and now they're finally figuring it out. And when they do that, people get mad. It's like, what?
Taylor, are there any studios that are hiring? Do we all of a sudden see like these ex Warner Brother teams popping up somewhere else?
Possibly. I mean, the reality is that we're in this weird market slump anyways. I mean, the American economy is a dumpster fire right now, and we're all just pretending that we're not like in pain, but we are. And so everybody is cutting things down. Netflix is cutting things down, Paramount, everyone. I mean, I was even reading the other day that Paramount is basically shutting down Showtime and just folding it into Paramount. And they're just like, no, it's too much money. We're just going to absolve this entity that's been around for like 20 years. Just let's move on. So like, it's kind of just the name of the game right now. So, I mean, everyone will eventually land on their feet, but it's going to be a little rough for a while.
Do you think so? Because I feel like what we're talking about is the dying gasp of movie theaters. And we thought like Top Gun came out, we're like, movie theaters are back, baby. But like, here we go with my dollar not going as far, and a movie is going to cost me an arm and a leg. The more people I bring to it, right? Like those event movies now, it's like, hey, I need you to cough up. Taylor, how much does it cost to bring your family to the movies if everyone goes and sees the new movie?
All right. So I bought tickets. Obviously, I'm not taking my baby, and he wouldn't be charged anyways. But I'm seeing Black Adam.
Baby.
I'm seeing Black Adam next Friday. We're seeing it Friday at 7. So I'm going to go media. No, I don't need to go media dark. I already know what's happening. I think it cost me $45 for the three of us, just for the tickets.
Okay, and that's not gas to get there. That's
I mean, it's like 5 minutes down the road, so we can walk.
It's not treats or drinks.
I was about to say, are treats and drinks involved?
I come from a long line of smuggling things in the theaters. Michael, you know this.
Same.
We have never bought concessions. We always be like, hey, we should like buy the 99-cent popcorn to make it not look suspicious. But we had like our hoodies filled to the brim. That's how we always were, even as kids.
Hoodies are the way to go in movie theaters. Or I actually pissed off my wife once because, the women's clothing, they don't have like big pockets, There was one day where I go to the theater and I'm bringing a Dr. Pepper and I just put the Dr. Pepper in my jean pocket and I have my hand in my pocket and it's believable. And my wife looks at me and just like, I hate you so much that you can do that. It's like, sorry.
What they started doing here in Ireland? I just got it. It's called it's a membership card. So for €18 a month, I can go and see as many movies as I want. So for somebody who like loves movies, this week I got to go see the Woman King, Amsterdam, that new Saoirse Ronan movie. I'm going to see that tomorrow. Then Halloween ends on Friday. For €18 a month, like that's ridiculous. I don't know how long this is going to last, because then I can go see Black Adam as many times as I want as well. I just don't understand how the studios make money if I'm paying $18 to see 15 movies.
Abuse that system as much as you can, because it has already gone belly up here in the States. It has already failed. You're gonna see, you'll literally see every movie in the theater, and then basically have 2 weeks where it's like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah,
I guess I go see Amsterdam again.
Yeah. But I can't believe it. Like, I don't understand how the studio makes money and how our cinema here makes money from me paying 18 a month.
Well, I had a few friends who worked in theaters, and they all kind of just were like, you don't make money off of the movies. You make money off the concessions. That's why we charge out the butt for them.
I was about to say that.
As long as you're buying a popcorn every time you go there, they're making some money off you.
I'm not.
But it's crazy how the movie industry is, how they allocate the funds. It's kind of funny because if a movie is made if the movie is made in the States, basically, like, if it's money that's like overseas, they really don't count that money. They really care about the domestic box office, which is kind of baffling. They care about that more than the money that's overseas. That's why sometimes the way the money is allocated and how they do it is crazy. And I don't know how they do it overseas for the theaters and how they come up, how they divide that up. But, like Tyler said, yeah, it's the same thing here. It's basically the concession stands. And ain't nobody paying all that money at the concession stand. If you got a girl and she got a big ass purse, you gonna take some food inside the actual theater and eat. So.
There was a TikTok that I saw the other day that it made me laugh, and I showed it to my wife, and she's like, "We're not doing that." But this girl went in with one of those like salad bowls and shoved it in her like pregnancy pants and filled it with snacks. And I'm like, "Hey, we still have all your maternity pants." And she's like, "We're not doing this." I'm like, "But imagine all the snacks we could bring." And she's like, "We're not doing that."
But going back to the layoffs today, Taylor, you might know a little bit more being around that area and stuff at Warner Brothers. I was in the States and I did the Warner Brothers tour a few weeks ago. Loved the great tour, awesome fun. Our tour guide was just amazing. He even told me some kind of low-key stuff about some stuff that's going on. I tweeted about Michael B. Jordan. His Superman project is still apparently going ahead. His team is working on it. But the tour, Studio 13, which I think was that the studio that was closed today. Layoffs?
I think it was a lot of their television group stuff. Studio, I think 13 was one of the ones that went round. Essentially, a lot of their it was kind of like Fox's Spotlight pictures, where it's like these are our kind of our indie films, the ones that we gamble on people who have no experience. Like, this is what we do, and they closed all that down, and they'll probably bring it back eventually. But for now, they wiped it all out.
Well, during the tour, that was supposed to be one of the areas we were going to go in and look at, but the tour guide said he didn't give a reason. Maybe this is the reason, but we can't go in there. So this thing has been in development for the last few weeks, and that's something just happened today. They've been thinking about closing down that studio, that stage for the last maybe few months.
Oh yeah, 100%. And another one that they dropped, I'm reading here, Warner Horizon's unscripted television is getting consolidated into Discovery's.
Yes.
Because Discovery has like this their whole money making system is from their unscripted TV, like their reality shows, all that stuff. So they don't need a second one. So they're just kind of folding that into theirs.
For giving out unwarranted solicitations for Discovery Plus, my sister has a small part in The Curse of Robert the Doll on Discovery Plus, about a haunted doll that haunts a family.
Nice.
I saw that. I was on, I think I was on Facebook or something, and she's like, "Look at all the things I did." I'm like, "Why are you going near that thing?"
That's what she's doing. She's an actress. That's what she does. And she's in the movie, and the doll is very terrifying. It moves its head. She screams. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, and I saw it, and I'm like, I was looking at it, I'm like, I really hope that's not the real doll, because your sister knows better.
Horror movies are doing pretty well now, so that's a good genre to get.
They are.
But kind of to go back to it, I mean, there's a lot of fans that are just straight up boycott WB, boycott this, boycott that. They're bitter. They're saying, "Oh, this is a Hamada project, so I'm not going to support it," even though the new studio inherited this project and then delays everything so they can basically cut these movies apart and add their own stuff into it. The entire third act of The Flash is being redone.
Yes.
Like, that should tell you that it's not Hamada's project anymore. Like, they're redoing things. They're spending a lot of money that they don't have to make these movies course correct instead of reboot.
I think Flash is going to be the movie it's going to be extremely profitable.
I think so too.
I think it's going to be highly profitable. There's a lot of things that's that's in that movie from the information that has been put out there. And we're talking about not from last year. There was Tyler probably knows, but there was a gentleman that did a tweet, and he put out, because he was on the set, and he basically said that, Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill was there for Superman and Batman to be in the Flash. Now, if that's the case, and on top of that, they're going to whatever which way the direction that they're trying to do and just incorporating that, that's crazy. The only big news from the Flash that we are anticipating and hoping that it happens, because it was in the original script, if Ray Fisher does come back and they do additional photography for his cyborg. If that so happened to happen, we got a while before the Flash comes out. But if that happens and they so happen to say, Ray Fisher is back, doing such and such and such, oh, it's a wrap.
Oh yeah.
It's a wrap.
Well, it's probably, I mean, I honestly think it's probably more than likely. I mean, the day Hamada is like cleaning up his desk, they're wiping away his parking spot. I could see Ray Fisher like just basically like,
good news, everyone. Good
and just loses its mind because he's like, I'm here. Like, because that's the last stumbling block. All the other clowns are gone. It's just Hamada. And the reason that everyone hates Hamada is not because he was doing a bad job. I mean, he was doing okay. He's not like the Antichrist, like a lot of people make him out to be. He was fine. But the problem is he wasn't defending the right people. He picked the wrong battles and defended the wrong people.
There you go.
That was what screwed him over.
Even if you look at the change in attitude from the stars now, a few years ago, The Rock was praising Walter Hamada, so was Jason Momoa. And now all these interviews are happening, and The Rock is talking about the new leadership at Warner Brothers and how this has changed and how he's excited for it, and we're looking for our own Kevin Feige, basically. Yeah. And I think, to be honest with you, he's putting himself in that position, his team, 7 Books Production, as the next Kevin Feige, if Black Adam is able to do well enough to warrant that power. But I think he has a lot of power right now, but I think for him to get like 100% power, Black Adam needs to be a big hit, which I think it will do well enough. I think general audiences will decide whether it's a huge hit.
And also, like you mentioned, those guys praising Walter Hamada and stuff, it kind of just shows that a lot of those actors, they're there to play ball. They'll praise whoever they need to praise. They're paid to be part of a studio. By the way, sorry I was gone for a while. I had a friend call me and congratulated me. So again,
how dare you be happy for your success?
I know, shame on me, right? But yeah, these actors, they're there to play ball. They're there to do what the studio wants them to do. And like you said, if this movie is a big success, then who knows? Like, we have a lot of things in the works as far as like Dwayne Johnson being a big influence on how things go from here. But
so one of the big things that I heard this last week is that Dwayne heavily advocated to get Henry his contract. And mind you, we've talked about this before. Henry's contract, one of the stipulations that rumored was there was that he had a first look clause, that he had to approve the script that he was going to be involved in before he signed on. He didn't want to be shoehorned into cameos or into roles that he didn't agree with. He had to have that first look at it before he agreed. And it sounds like rumor has it is that Dwayne heavily said this needs to happen. Give him his contract. Get Superman back on the board. Appease his demands. Let's get this cape out of the closet. Let's get him in here.
Yeah, and he's a full production crew. He has his own stuntmen. He travels with his own private chef. Like, he brings so much to a movie set. He can attract all of these stars. They want to do a movie. He's going to bring the same formula that was brought in the latter half of those Fast and Furious movies. And each movie, we're going to get a new ringer. And, The Rock's contract won't let them lose in this. They got a tie and stuff like that. But that's the kind of level that we're going to get to.
Mm-hmm. Now, as far as like my main concern with a lot of this has mostly to do with not Dwayne Johnson's ability to bring people in, but Dwayne Johnson's ability to perform on screen, right? That's my biggest concern, because Dwayne Johnson is a movie star, not necessarily a great actor, right? He's popular and people like him because of his personality, but to me, like, a lot of the success of, not the success, but a lot of my own personal feelings towards Black Adam are going to hinge on if Dwayne Johnson can actually be believable in this role or not. And that's one thing I'm not necessarily convinced right now that he can do, but hopefully I'm wrong.
He became famous in wrestling for smacking people and telling them to shut up. That sounds exactly what Black Adam is going to do. Black Adam is going to be choke slamming people and throwing people through walls
While
to
true,
the point that we have to bring in an extraterrestrial to beat him.
Well, true to that point, but also at the same time in this movie, he's going to be alongside Pierce Brosnan, who is a fantastic actor. And so I think unless Dwayne Johnson step up his game, the difference in acting ability could be pretty eminent, which could count against Dwayne Johnson. That's my main thing.
I've always felt that Dwayne Johnson is kind of like Tom Cruise and kind of like Nick Cage, where they play themselves, and when they get a role that works very well for them, then it's flawless. But it's like when you try to watch, like to me, like Tom Cruise has done some great work in certain roles, like Interview with a Vampire was probably my favorite role of his.
Yeah.
Same with like The Last Samurai and a few other movies like that. But then you get movies like The Mummy, where it's just like, why did you do this? This isn't working. You're not funny. You're not snarky. What are you doing? Why are you trying to be this? Because it wasn't him.
That was supposed to be the start of the Dark Universe, though.
And it tanked so bad that they were like, nah, we're done.
Well, it's because like they try to make a Mummy movie without Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. That's the problem, and that's you just don't do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, even those movies. The first one is amazing. The second one introduced the world to Rock the movie star, which that's how that happened. But then the third one, which I'll forget about it. Let's just pretend.
The third one doesn't exist, Taylor.
You know what? I don't even think I saw the third one.
Jet Li's in it
that way.
Chinese dragon
that
mummies.
way.
The actress that replaced
I don't.
Weisz
Yeah.
is like bad.
Okay. Yeah. Because
And then they also aged up his son to be an adult, and then didn't like change anything. I was like, this is
Well,
weird.
like my issue is if you can't bring Rachel Weisz back, or if there's a schedule conflict, wait. Don't just replace Rachel Weisz. You don't replace Evie. That's your first huge problem. Don't replace Evie. Anyway, sorry. I'm very passionate about those movies, and that one in particular in a negative way.
The first one is cinematic perfection. I watch it every year, and I love it. And it's so good. It's
I
super
also
good.
love the second one, despite the terrible CGI Dwayne Johnson.
I think it's despite the annoying kid.
I actually don't mind the kid.
Oh, the kid? Oh, okay, yeah.
I remember seeing it in theaters with you, Michael, back when we were in high school.
I have no recollection of this movie whatsoever.
Yeah, because you were so mad about it. But there was this the third act of that movie. There's too many like, I'm going to catch the weapon. I'm going to catch the weapon.
Is this the movie with the airship?
No, this is the one that.
With the balloon.
It does have an airship.
It's
a dirigible.
Yeah, I've completely blocked this movie out. This is a terrible movie.
No, I love that movie, actually. It's probably the Mummy movie that I rewatched most as a kid. And I still love that movie to this day.
It's funny. I mean, Mummy 2 has some great moments in it.
There's some great moments, but also like how everyone is reincarnated from somebody was annoying. How everyone threw the spear and caught it out of the midair. I was like, guys, stop. It's just.
Although I do credit the Mummy movies for my reasoning to why I wanted Oded Fer to be Dr. Fate.
I credit Justice League the cartoon for him to be Dr. Fate.
Oh, I forgot he even did that.
So good. In my brain, that's when I read Dr. Fate comics, that's the voice I use.
It's crazy how like personally, like I started watching WWE before I became like a movie fanatic. So like The Rock was my superhero back in the day. And now here I am, 25. I still like wrestling, but I prefer movies now. And The Rock is a superhero is coming out next week. And it's funny how things change. I think maybe this role might suit The Rock a little bit more because in WWE, he was playing a superhero for like 20 years, you know? Yeah. Same with John Cena. Now these characters are heroes. And actually, John Cena's best role was, in my opinion, Peacemaker. I know he's playing this kind of villain, anti-hero kind of type character, but he was just perfect. So maybe this is the perfect role for The Rock, coming from the WWE background. And I think he'll use some of those like wrestling themes in terms of this is the WrestleMania match for Black Adam and Black Adam 2, which I think will be not as deep as the previous Zack Snyder DC movies, but it might be the best direction to go in to win over critics and fans and the box office.
Yeah. Speaking of WWE, though, random story. Taylor, I don't know if I've ever told you about the time that me and my brother totally ruined the WWE for a friend of ours. So this friend of ours, he was raised Mennonite, their whole family Mennonites. So they didn't like do like TV or anything like that. Well, this man, he worked construction and he got injured one day and couldn't leave the house. And so he broke down and got a TV and he started watching WWE and he's like in his 40s and he's watching like, oh my gosh, this is intense. This is crazy. And so me and my older brother were there one day And we look over at him and he's getting all excited. And we're like, yeah, it's too bad that all this is scripted. And he looked at us. He was so heartbroken. He's like, what? We're like, no, sorry. I'm sorry. No, it's all real. I'm sorry. But it was too late from that point. Anyway, random story I always like to share about WWE.
No, but
Vince
kind of
McMahon
back to
is
the,
gone out of the WWE, and Rock is going to be a huge part of the restructuring of that company. If any of this takes off, I guarantee you in a year, you'll see Henry Cavill choke slam The Rock live in front of 30,000 people as a tie-in for something like this.
He's going to walk on stage in a Superman costume and just like jump off the rails. Like
he'll do it in a suit, but he'll have like a shirt underneath it. You're like, oh, it's kind of there. It's not there, but it's kind of there. And he just like does it through a table.
It'll be like the comic book Superboy outfit where it's like this no cape, but just like the bodysuit.
I believe this is the first time that Dwayne Johnson has did some serious marketing.
Yeah.
From what I've seen just from his career. So I mean, just from Black Adam, just as a whole, I think this is the very, very first time that I really seen him do some very, very major marketing. And you know, he's doing a good job. I'm gonna give him that. I give that, you know. The Rock doing his thing right now. I mean, you can't hate on the man. He's doing his thing. Yeah. So, I mean,
so I kind of back to, I mean, a lot of people, I probably want to introduce you a little bit more, Sean. For people who don't know who Sean is, he was the fella that started the Release the Snyder Cut movement with the first tweet, the first time the hashtag was used. You were the one who started it. And I think you said it was, you used it kind of in vain of the Donner Cut, like, the Donner Cut came out, so we want the Snyder Cut. Like, we don't want to wait 30 years. Let's get this movie out. And you and I have talked kind of off the side the last few weeks, along with the stuff with Jay Oliva talking about like, hey, fans need to be better. Stop this nonsense. And I kind of I tweeted. I did tweet this long rant the other day where I was basically saying, if you guys boycott this movie, if you guys try to tank Black Adam, if you try to tank The Flash, you try to tank Aquaman because of your preconceived anger toward the last management, all you're going to do is show the new management that it's not worth their time and they're just going to move on. And I think, as we talked about the other day, Jay in his tweet rant basically said that the Snyder Cut fandom once was this like happy, supportive, we raised money for suicide prevention, and now it's like, to kind of talk about like kind of a Bible analogy, like they're the Pharisees now of the internet, where we got what we wanted. We're the chosen people, so now we're going to be assholes, and it's become an issue.
Pretty good comparison, actually.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lost their way. They're worshiping a golden calf. It's not their fault, but we got to destroy it because we have to show them that is not the way.
This is the way.
I will say this, even with all the chaos in the, you know, because you see all the hit pieces and what they saying about the actual movement and what they saying, you know, you give them a piece, they take a mile and all that stuff like that. And, you know, what they saying and the way that people are acting and the way they are, you know, interacting with people instead of just being cordial about everything. It's okay to have an agreement, you know, agree to disagree on certain things and correct people. But a lot of these individuals, when you talk to them, they just be foul. They just be rude for just no particular reason whatsoever. And that wasn't the purpose of the movement to be. It was just for people to be aware. We wanted something. We actually got it. And, you know, they're you know, and it's making the people that are really legit like us, you know, the people that are just like us, they're making us look bad. And that's messed up. But, you know, will it, you know, so hopefully that everything does come into fruition later on down the line, even with the, you know, the idiots and the weirdos and all that stuff like that, what they doing. So it is what it is. So, you know, but I try my best not to interact with those, you know, certain individuals like that because, you know, it could be overwhelming at times. It can.
Basically, what Prime is saying is we're too legit to quit.
Yeah, but like, it's like these guys are worshiping an illusion because, like, we all know what Zach's original plans were back in 2014, 2015, 2016. Yeah. But if he was to come back, it would be very different. It would be a very different story because actors are older. There's different characters in the universe. He has different ideas. He's a genius. He's always thinking about new things, you know? So, like, yeah, exactly. You know, exactly, Brian. But, like, these guys, I honestly don't think they like anything. I just think they like the sense of being like not liked because they like Zack Snyder movies, and Zack Snyder, the perception of Zack Snyder has changed over the last few years. You know, look at the Oscars, look at the reception to the Snyder Cut, look at, you know, his Netflix work. The guy isn't as hated as he kind of once was, and the perception has changed. These guys are living in the 2016 perception of Zack Snyder rather than the now, and they always want this battle to fight. They always want to be like, oh, it's me versus them type of mentality.
Yeah.
If you want Black Adam to fail, okay. But if you want Zack Snyder to return, he has to return with a universe still active.
I mean, people on the internet being perpetually angry? What?
Right? I love Frank's comment here. It's time to put money where our mouth is. Support the films that support Snyder's vision, which most of the upcoming films do. Then Warner Brothers Discovery will have the incentive to invest in Snyder's direction. I actually talked to one of my contacts about this specifically, saying, hey, what's really happening? And I think I sent it into the chat. I think you may have seen it, Dawson. I don't know if you did, but it was there.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
I basically asked them, like, what's going on? And they basically, it sounds like Zach is probably going to get an extension offer from Netflix to keep working. But the moment his first look deal is done, Discovery does want to talk to him about some stuff. If it's just a producing role, if it's something of that capacity, then that's what it is. But they're not. This new management hasn't closed the door on him. And that's the biggest thing. Of course
they haven't closed the door. They hired all of his actors back.
Yes.
They went out of their way to get all these people back.
But I will say this, though. When you look at it from another lens, even if they brought the actors and actresses back, it wouldn't make any sense at this particular time and moment to even try to change the characters and reboot. Because this is the reason why. Because, for instance, let's just take Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa. There's a lot of people that just go with females, just with a whole. They love Gal as Wonder Woman. They love her as Diana. It'll be a lot of people that'll be pissed off if they changed it. The only way that will actually happen, unless Gal said, which she has basically stated, you know, she probably don't want to play Wonder Woman much longer because she want to spend more time with her family. But she's going to finish out her contract. But if they so happen to change her, or she just so happen to step down, then people have to accept it if she chose to do that. But if they just went away from her as a whole, then it'll be anarchy at this moment. Same thing with Jason Momoa, because everybody likes Jason Momoa as, you know, author. So, and a lot of now Batman is up in the air. It's everywhere. It's all divided when it comes down to, you know, playing Bruce Wayne. And Henry Cavill, you know, you already see the buzz with that. So it wouldn't make no sense to really, you know, swipe them out and change it. It wouldn't make no sense. I think it would have, because they're familiar. People are familiar with them now. You know, even the general casual audience, and even though they've been out the spotlight for a while now, okay, for a while now, people still know who they are and what they, you know, with the characters that they're representing. So it wouldn't make sense to swap them out.
I completely agree. I think people are going to see billboards with these people on them for these next movies, and they're going, "Oh, great, the next Wonder Woman movie's coming out," and hopefully the movies themselves are good so that they stand on their own feet, because Wonder Woman is a real tough thing, because that 1984 was real letdown. World was on lockdown. That was not a good Christmas day. Everybody watched it, and then as I was watching it, I'm like, oh, this is a bad movie.
I mean, I was having a good day. I was at the beach, and then I watched that movie.
It's a good thing that you brought that up, because even though the script for Wonder Woman 3 is not concrete, we just know that Patty Jenkins said it was done. It could also,
she said she wrote the final scene, right? Is that what she said?
Right. It could be changed. It could be done. The misconception that a lot of people are taking is that, which is kind of, you know, a lot of people are over exaggerating this, and I'm going to take it for what it's worth. Yes, Jeff Johns did not make a very good script with Wonder Woman 84 with him being on it. People have to realize is that I think that Jeff Johns, how people think about Jeff Johns, however they think about him, okay? But when it comes down to just DC lore and DC lore alone, Jeff Johns is the man for that. I think that when he came in along, you know, just to make it short, I think that he had his own ideas, and it was just so much stuff going on. His ego got in the way. His ego got in the way to do it. This is just my personal opinion.
Isn't
not
that the
gonna knock
plot of the
anything.
movie? Isn't that the plot of Wonder Woman 84? That the dude's ego gets out of and it gets in the way of his family, and he goes, "Oh my God, what am I?" Like that is literally the story of what happened to that
Right.
movie.
But I'm
He
just
probably
saying that him
unintentionally
doing
put himself into the film.
Maybe.
right. So with him doing it, and this the thing, people fail to realize is that Jeff Johnson's never written a Wonder Woman book.
Mm.
And the thing about it was that was so crazy was that Alan Helenberg wrote Wonder Woman. He wrote books, and he was one that wrote the first one. So my thing is, you know, he went into a different direction. And I think with the third one, if Jeff Johns is going to be a writer, I know he's going to be an executive producer because he has to. I think he's still under contract for his contract is I don't know how long his contract still is up to.
He's tied to the movies that he was a part of, so he's still like tied to the Shazam movies. He's still tied to Wonder Woman 84 sequel, and like I actually asked my contact this morning about Jeff, and they said Jeff's in a weird situation. He's not involved in a lot of stuff, but at the same time, he does have a few things he's still tied to. But he's definitely laying in the shadows because he doesn't want people to hate him anymore.
Okay,
I think he I don't know if any of you guys watch Stargirl.
I watched it.
I only started watching it because I loved Luke Wilson. He was in it, and then Joel McHale kind of has a bigger role in it now. I actually think, I think he created that character Stargirl. I think it's based off his sister and stuff.
Yeah,
and actually, I think that show is good.
Yeah, Stargirl is nice.
He found his place there. I'm not defending the guy. I just don't think he's able for these massive with these massive movie stars. There, I think he found his footing in a way, but then it's probably too late to win back over people online, you know.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, the thing that we're all kind of like talking about, we've said it before, Twitter is not real life.
It's not.
And this outrage that's always online is never truly as significant as like the general audience. However, you do have some cases where mass boycotting hurts more so than anything else. I mean, we saw with the Star Wars movies. I brought this up yesterday. We saw with fans were pissed about The Last Jedi, so they boycotted Solo, and that destroyed all of the Solo movies.
Even though Solo was like a really good movie. I love
it. Solo was a nice movie. It really was.
It would have been a great mini trilogy. I would have loved to see more of it. Yeah. It's a kind of a tricky thing because if you boycott things thinking that you're basically holding the studio hostage to get your way, the studio doesn't respond to terrorists and they say, screw this, we're done. Like if the numbers, they spent X amount of money to bring Henry back, they bring X amount of money to put him in the film, and then the movie fails, they will just say, why did we bother? And they'll just move on. Clearly the audience doesn't care about Henry, so why should we bring him back for more stuff? And they'll do that with everyone else because if they don't see immediate results, they're not going to waste their money because the studio is cash poor right now. They need successes to continue. They won't bring new projects into the light. They won't hire new things. They won't create new movies and this new timeline stuff. They won't do any of that if it doesn't get received well. So boycotting is the worst thing you can do right now because that's just the surefire way of them rebooting.
Because a lot of these studios, when they do their whole social media research, like they do study up on things and they do look at trends, but there's only so far that they go. Yeah. And so if there is a boycott of DC stuff, they'll think, oh, people just are disinterested in DC in general, and they won't look at the specifics as to why. And so that could be a big problem if you do decide to boycott. Like you said, they'll just think, oh, well, there's just no demand for this general thing when the intent was the opposite.
If these movies don't perform the way that they think, they're going to pivot and keep going towards the more of those darker Batman movies and whatever this Joker movie is going to do. Because the last Joker was, they didn't think it was going to be as big as it was. It was big. And now it's going to be another kind of weird movie. So I feel like that's the way that they're going to go if the Cape and Cavill kind of movies don't work.
I will say this, and I said this on the space yesterday. I was like, the thing that they do wrong and which they need to try to get out of, they do too much Batman stuff. It's too convoluted. Because the problem with
it's too saturated.
It's convoluted is that they over-exaggerate things with it. They rehash it all the time. I'm not taking nothing away from Batman. But this is the sad thing about it. People think Batman is just DC and top of DC as whole. They don't know that there are other characters. I'm talking about the general casual audience. They really just think that Batman is just DC. But DC has so many iconic characters outside of the Trinity. And a lot of people don't know that. And that's the bad thing. From comics to animation. Because remember before they changed the animation, remember what they would do? They will always put Batman in the animation just to have him in there. Why is he in here? Okay. I don't know if people remember the Justice League Dark, but
yes,
put him in there just to put him in there so people can watch it.
It's Constantine. It's all these it's all these like dark magic beings. And then Batman shows up. You're like, I bet, right? You all know that I rule on this, right? Yeah,
right. They always put Batman in everything. If they stop doing that, I get it. Everybody loves Bruce Wayne and the Bat family and all that. I get it, and the way the villains are. But if they start to really go into the catalog, I'm going to say the DC Bible, which is ridiculously huge. If they go into that, they can pull out a lot of tricks, and there's a lot of magical stuff and that they need to utilize.
So right now I went back to school. I'm pursuing a new degree, and one of my classes I had to build a database so I can run a bunch of code with, and I was just kind of bored. So the database that I built was based on Justice League characters, and I needed a certain number of characters. So I was going through like all this stuff to find it. I stopped at 100 characters, and I was still like another 1,000 I can add to this thing. DC has such a huge catalog of characters that I didn't realize it until I started actually crunching the numbers. I'm like, holy crap, they could make so much stuff
and so many worlds to explore.
Yeah, and it was funny because even one of my tabs, I'm like, all right, let me just go to duplicate heroes. I'm like, Flash. I'm like, okay, there's like 5 Flashes. Green Lantern, I'll stop at 8. Let's stop at 8. Like, and I was just going through, and I'm like, there's so many characters, and it's they have. I mean, from my understanding, Zaslav believes that the multiverse is a thing that can work because they want it to work. I mean, they're going to clearly continue with Pattinson's Batman. Ben Affleck is back for whatever he's back for. Michael Keaton is contracted for something, so he's going to be there. So at minimum, we've got 3 Batmans running around film.
I still hate that whole Michael Keaton thing. I really do. I'm having such a hard time with that.
I hope that what they do is I dropped something. I hope they let that movie, like Flash goes back to his timeline and everything's great and he brings some things into it, but then like it leaves Keaton to be like, I need to get a protege, and then they introduce like a Batman Beyond spinoff off of that.
That'd be the perfect way to do it. That'd be perfect.
But it's like I think Prime touched on it and Taylor as well. Like the reason they don't want to reboot everything is because you could have anyone play Batman, and a Batman movie is probably going to do well because general audiences love Batman.
Yeah,
Superman, it's not that hard. It's not that easy. So that's why they want to hold on to Henry Cavill. Gal Gadot is already personified as Wonder Woman, so they want to keep her. Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Do you know how hard it would be to reboot everything, to find a new star to be Aquaman and make it work? Very difficult. So that's why they're trying to hold on to these big stars, make less movies, bigger budget, the cameos, the WrestleMania type matches, and then bring the... Why do you think Keanu Reeves is coming back as Constantine? Because he's a big star. That character could do pretty well with him. Yeah. If they bring in an unknown character or unknown actor, it's a risk. It might fail. So bring back Keanu Reeves. That's why they keep these big stars. And I think that's why they're not wanting to reboot yet. But
it's smarter to retool. It's smarter to retool and course correct than it would be to reboot right now. Yeah. And they know that. It's less money to course correct.
If the Constantine movie happens and it's not just like a sequel to the first movie, but like expands the world, do you think they bring Swamp Thing in? Do you think they just like bring 3 other if
they bring in Swamp Thing, they need to bring in the one from the TV show.
Yeah, that show.
If
the Derek Mears one.
So good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Michael, you need to give him a call. I want him on here.
No, he's too busy. He was very kind. He has makeup on his face right now. He is too busy for us. He was very nice. He wrote me a very nice letter, but he is busy getting makeup on his face.
All right. When he's not busy, get your friend on this show.
That show was so good, guys.
So good.
One of my favorite shows.
Was nice,
ever.
Man. It's kind of messed up that they didn't continue that. Going forward, all the mess and stuff that happened with it and stuff. So it's messed up, but You know, it'll be great if they so happen to bring that back.
Yeah.
You know, but
we've just hit out at the hour mark, and I know it's like what 2:30 your time, Sean. It's like it's getting pretty late.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Just a little bit.
I think the bottom line that we all kind of are touching base on is obviously toxic fans are not in the right here, and they don't speak for everyone. A lot of fans, I'm genuinely excited for Black Adam. I have my tickets for next week. I'm ready to see it. I was going to see it before the Superman cameo leaked. I was down for it, and now that it's there, I'm like, all right, cool. Now we know. It's like what we said on one of our other shows, Michael. People saw Captain Marvel because they knew it tied into Endgame. People are now going to see Black Adam because they know what the next movie is going to be. Black Adam versus Superman. So people are now going to be invested. So I fully believe this movie is going to succeed, despite the toxicity and the boycott for all their superficial reasons. I can't be happy with life, so I'm going to burn everyone's happiness. But that's kind of how I see it. I mean, it's really petty, but I think people just need to realize that if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't have to. Don't ruin it for someone else that it will work for.
I also think, like, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe we'll all be wrong. Maybe Black Adam will fail. But if it does succeed, a lot of these haters online, I think they're worried about Black Adam being a hit because it will drown out their cries about Zack Snyder's the only way to do this. You know, all these things, that Warner Brothers is bad, Jeff Johns this, all that kind of stuff. I think if Black Adam is a success, they're going to be a very small minority just throwing shit at a wall, trying to say like it's not working. Well, the movie just made this amount of money. How is it not working? General audiences like it. Henry Cavill's back. It's a big hit. They're going to do Black Adam v Superman. Who knows what else? I think they're worried about the movie doing well.
I don't think Black Adam is going to be a problem. I think once the noise and everything comes out, there's nothing to worry about because the main thing that the general casual audience likes, they love The Rock. They're going to go see it, regardless of the fact. That's the first thing.
And like I said in the space yesterday, even his bad movies are successful.
Yes, even those are successful. So they're going to turn up to go see him. Now, depending on how the movie transitions and depending on how they're going to transition into the other movies, that's going to be the case on how the movie flows and what they're going to do with it. But that's going to be the major thing. But I don't have no problems with Black Adam. But I would tell you this though, when that haircut drops, that's when everybody going to flip out. That's when everybody going to go crazy. You think everybody going to go crazy over Black Adam? Just wait till the haircut drop.
I'm very down to see that. Very down.
I have talked to a few people about this. The haircut is not going to be one of those the secret release date movies for DC, but they said it's very much something that the new management is looking into.
That sounds like a Christmas rule. That sounds exactly like some just pops in your feed one day and everybody watches it. Is Black Adam and Superman? Is Black Adam enough of a threat that Superman would need to team up with Batman?
He's enough of a threat that Superman would need some help from Shazam and that family.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So that's where I see that going.
Yeah. There's moments in the books or whatever that if you read the books, it's completely different. Shazam, if he gets to the point where he gets out of his kid element, he can do some things. But yeah, he gonna need help from Superman and the Shazam family. Superman's got to come in and help, but how
wholesome would it be to see like Henry Cavill Superman interacting with the Shazam family as kids?
That's
cool.
That'll be crazy.
I would just love to see like Henry's Clark Kent sitting at a food court with like just a bunch all the Shazam kids like he's like, what are we doing here? This is weird.
he's like, I miss Batman.
It's like I need to go back to the other group. Like
we would see Superman would take all of the kids to a theme park and the jitterbugs playing in the background. And he's like carrying stuffed animals. They're like, we want to go on this one. He's like, we see Superman on the roller coaster, not moving at all as everyone else is screaming. He just stands there normal. Like, that's what we see him do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not one of those diehards. Like I've said that before. I love Snyder's work. I love what he did. It's kind of like what I brought up on the thing yesterday. When you have all substance, you have Christopher Nolan. When you have all style, you get Michael Bay. And you get the happy middle, which is Zack Snyder, which is the substance and style.
A lot of people like to say he has style or substance, but no, his substance is in his style. That's what I always like to say.
So, but I don't think that all of these versions of his characters need to have just all broodingness, because even he didn't want all of his characters to brood. He was happy. He was giving like hope to all these characters and bringing some stuff up. Yeah, I mean, his initial storyline pitch was a little dark, and it was going to be dark, but he even said he changed things, and that's fine. I would love, I don't want Marvel level humor where it's silly and out of place, but I would love some levity with some of these characters. I think the Aquaman movie was successful because they let Jason be Jason and inject his own levity into it. I think that if they have moments like that where there is that like kind of ironic humor where Superman is just kind of like a fish out of water with these other characters, and let them play into that a little bit where he's like, this isn't working. It would be fun. I mean, kind of like the in the first Avengers movie, one of my favorite moments of that whole movie was when Chris Evans, I understood that reference, because they definitely leaned into the out of placeness of his character, and let's do some of that with Superman. I mean, he's a farm boy from Kansas. Let's get some stuff in there where he just doesn't fit in with city kids, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I just say, all I can say is I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm
and
ready.
I love this right here. One of the comments. Pregnant Lois comes to the table and makes a joke about how Clark now has to prepare what life is like with kids. And that's what that's the scene set up. He's like, Lois said I had to be here because I need to get ready to be a dad. Like he's babysitting a bunch of kids now.
Yeah,
that would be that. It's funny. I mean, that'd be great, because
that dynamic is gonna be that dynamic dynamic. If they go that way, and like I said in space yesterday, like I said, Zack Snyder's Justice League opened up a can of worms. It opened up a whole bunch of possibilities and directions on where they can go if after these movies are done, after they're done, or even if they so happen to tap into Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they go from there. So only time will tell. So we just have to wait and see.
What if these new changes to the Flash movie that they're adjusting? Obviously, they're bringing Sasha Calle's Supergirl into the main canon with Henry, and that's going to be a plot point, is that they're together now. What if one of the many changes to this new timeline is that they recanonize Zack Snyder's Justice League? They adapt that stuff where there's like, oh, in this new world, I also did a lot of the things from that movie. They kind of do away with that version of Steppenwolf and they bring in the other stuff. What if they recanonize it for everybody? Like,
I think they're totally going to. We need people to sign up for HBO Max. We need people. And if they're going to come out with all of these movies, right? What is the jumping off point? When I come to you and go, hey man, how do I get into this? Where do I go? And you go to HBO Max and you can watch everything. It has to be based on this, because this is the property that people are going to view to get into these worlds. And Zack Snyder's Justice League is really good. It's
freaking awesome.
It's not a movie. It's not a mini series. It's this weird thing, but it's great.
This is a brainstorm too. And the good thing that Michael said this too is that, do everybody remember in Man of Steel? Because this was a main thing that everybody brought up. And Zach was cryptic at the time and he didn't tell nobody. Remember when he was in the ship and the pie was empty? Somebody got out. What if that's Kara Zor-El that got out? And she just so happened just to be on Earth, unless it's just another dimension. We don't know. They can go any type of way.
Yeah, if they played with that, that'd be really cool. I would love if they played around with that.
I think I have things about that initially, but there's some stuff about that. But no, I like this. James Cameron's Green Lantern. I've spoken. I would love James Cameron to do a Green Lantern film, but he is busy making his Avatar 20 films. He's not going to be doing anything else.
Yeah, no.
But no, I think that's where we should wrap it, guys. Again, bottom line, if we want DC to continue, we can't boycott. We we have to go back to what Zach has always been. Like, Zach is a positive person. He doesn't ever preach people to be like malicious and hostile. If we're gonna run a movement in his name, we have to do it the way he would do it and not be gatekeepers. Like,
maybe we move on and get a new hashtag like hope for change or hope for a better tomorrow or tomorrow. Like, there's got to be a way that we can piggyback off this, that we can all agree, like, this is the way we want to move forward.
Yeah. We'll see.
But
Time will tell.
Yep. But Black Adam comes out next week, and let's see how that turns out. We're all going to see it, and we'll reconvene the week after and say, okay, that was fun, or that, I don't know.
Reboot.
We'll talk about it then. But thank you all for joining us. If you want to help support us and do what we do, head over to our Patreon. Again, my name was Taylor Murphy, your host. My co-host, Michael Santel, and our slew panel. We have Sean, Movies That Maher. He is all over social media. Find him and follow him because he posts far more than I do. He's definitely someone to follow.
You will find him.
Dawson, he's on the Four Nerds. Everyone knows him, nerdy in many ways, but he is going to be the lucky one who gets to go meet Zach on set for Rebel Moon. So hooray. And
Woo.
Prime, if you guys have not seen Prime yet, Prime 76, go find him and you will go down that rabbit hole with him because he is always active and always talking, and it's always a treat. So thank you all for joining us, and we will see y'all next week.